The hot dog killer. Stella Nolan went missing on June 20th, 1953. She was last seen playing near her mother's hot dog stand. When she failed to check in between 8 and 9 o'clock, her mother reported her missing. There were many suspects over the years, but none led to Stella until 1970 when a man named Mac Edwards was arrested. Mac was a contractor hired to build freeways for the state of California. He confessed to killing Stella and throwing her off a bridge. He said he returned the following day and found her still alive. Mac took Stella to a freeway he was constructing. He dug a hole, and that was her final resting place. If you think this story is crazy, follow and like to see what's next.
Have you ever heard of the girl who walked backwards? Her name was Ella Harper and she was known as the Camel Girl. This was back when freak shows were a very popular thing. A freak show is an exhibition of biological rarities. People would have features that would be physically unusual to humans. There was the bearded lady, there was a lion-faced man, there were people with tattoos all over them, and people liked to go to these shows because they were so shocking. And honestly, when you look back on it, it's extremely messed up because people would just go there and make fun of these poor people. Ella Harper was born with a condition known now as genu recurvatum. This condition allows one's knees to hyperextend and actually bend in the opposite direction. And because of that, it was most comfortable for Ella to walk on all fours. And although this condition affected her physical state, her mental capacities were totally normal. And she eventually made all this money and left the circus to go to school. Just looking into all these people who are put on display, it's incredibly sad. Because honestly, I think weird is beautiful, and I would rather be unique than to look like everybody else.
Here's a one-sentence, terrifying horror story. I knew my wife was an alien because of the green blood, and I knew she was lying when she kept screaming, "You're colorblind."
This story is called They're Playing Dead. After the new arrival of his twin sisters, a little boy's parents' attention suddenly is drawn away from him. But with all the attention on the twins, his grandparents and others would tell him constantly, "You need to step up and be helpful." And that's exactly what he did. See, he tried to help as much as he could, but he just kept getting in the way. And everyone just got angry at him, until his mum finally turned around and said, "The best way to help with your little sisters is to just play games with them." So he did. That afternoon, both of his parents were exhausted from looking after the twin babies, and they fell asleep on the couch. No more than 2 hours later, they both wake up in a panic. They search for the twins everywhere and finally run to the little boy's room. They say, "Quickly, have you seen the girls?" He said, "You don't have to worry anymore. They're in the backyard." His mum looks out the window and says, "We're in the backyard. Look, they're playing dead in the pool."
Terrifying facts you wish you never knew, Part 2. According to a nurse that worked in the back of an ambulance for the better part of 15 years, the most notorious last words among patients that were about to pass away was, "I don't feel so good." They continued to say how bizarre it was that humans could tell how close they were to death just off a feeling alone. Next is the fact that you could have very easily been murdered at some point in your life. Now this is pretty obvious, but let me explain why I'm telling you this. It's been stated that at any time in the United States of America, there are 25 to 60 active serial killers wandering around. And over the course of your life, you will walk by 36 murderers. So if one of them decides to crack while you're nearby, the next thing you know, you might be dapping up Jesus Christ. While swimming in any body of water, a bacteria called Naegleria fowleri can get into your nose. This could cause primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. And that, my friends, is a long-winded out way of me saying that this bacteria will most definitely kill you. So be careful the next time you go swimming.
Here's a one-sentence, terrifying horror story. According to the computer's readouts, the astronauts' oxygen had run out 5 days ago. Then why did they still hear screaming?
Here are 3 creepy things that happened on the set of The Exorcist. Number 1. On the first set of this film, everything caught on fire. And everything was destroyed except for Regan's room. And that's where most of the exorcism scenes were set to be shot. Number 2. 2 of the actors who were scripted to die in the film also died in real life during the post-production of this film. Apart from that, 7 other people from the cast and crew ended up dying due to natural or unexplained causes before the film was even released. Number 3. While writing the book, William experienced some strange and supernatural things that would happen to him, such as randomly levitating in the air. All of the cast and crew who were associated with this movie felt a very dark presence while they were filming it. Do you think that it was a strange coincidence, or was there really something sinister going on here?
This is the terrifying story of Amelia the Doll. There was this woman who was living in this 100-year-old house. And as beautiful as the house was, there was this very dark energy coming from it, and she thought it was caused by the doll that she bought. The doll was named Amelia, and she was made in 1994. And what's incredibly creepy is that when the woman first bought the doll, her eyes were blue. And everything was fine for years, but one day the doll's eyes turned this bright green. It basically just happened overnight without any explanation. And that is when weird things started happening in the house. She got woken up every night by a crying baby, and she'd walk around the house and wouldn't be able to find any source of the sound. She would also hear doors slamming and her floor creaking. It always sounded like someone was walking towards her bedroom. So she had some paranormal investigators come to her house, and they immediately found out that it was the doll causing all these problems. So the doll was put on eBay, and this is what the listing actually says. It says, "This doll is not recommended for the weak of heart or for any little kids to have in their bedrooms. She's..."
Wait until you see the terrifying footage that this airport security guard discovered. In this video, an airport security guard was finishing up his shift when he heard a strange noise coming from a seemingly empty airplane. When he went to investigate, this is what he discovered. When he checked the back of the airplane the first time, there was nothing there. However, this time there was a black shadowy figure in the back. Could it be just another prank, or is there something much more sinister going on here?
Here's a one-sentence, terrifying horror story. As death came for him, John's life flashed before his eyes. He remembered everything. His birth, his trip home, and the blank stare his mom gave him as he drowned him in the bathwater.
Here are some creepy facts. Did you know after you die, your sense of hearing is last to go? How crazy. Imagine hearing what the person's saying next to you when you die. Well, I mean, if you die around anyone. Also, men who were hanged got a death erection. I mean, awkward. Also, more than 7,000 people die annually because of a doctor's bad handwriting. Yes, I used to work for a few doctors that I could never understand what the hell they were writing. I mean, look at these examples. A paramedic once said, after 15 years of being a paramedic, these are words that he heard from people who actually died and what they said before they died. I don't feel so good. Wait, something's wrong. Something's happening. I don't feel right. Oh no, oh no. I guess because you could feel the blood leaving your brain, so you know you're about to die. And honestly, that's so creepy, because I say that a lot.
This might look like a normal photo, but it's actually one of the most chilling ghost photos I've ever seen. In 1942, this photo was taken at this couple's wedding with a box camera. The couple is smiling, but somebody else in the picture is not very happy about this day. If you pay close attention to the tree on the right, you'll notice something disturbing. An image of an angered woman in the trees is shown reaching out at the couple. Now, this actual photo was passed down through the generations, so there's no way that it could have been photoshopped. When you zoom in again, the image is even more terrifying.